Clamshell features a margin report function that allows you to oversee a project's profitability. To get started with this feature, it's important to understand that this report is a projection of a project's gross profit. This report compiles your revenue and your costs in a simple and concise manner that's easy to follow and navigate. Part of setting up a project is the margin setup. When you click this button, the margin setup page will ask you for two types of information: revenue-related data and costs-related data. When setting up your margin, all your preliminary data are manually entered in the original estimate column. These data stay around throughout your entire project for comparison purposes. Another component of the margin report page is the project's schedule. Any change in the original contract duration date may have an effect on your margin, so it's important to track carefully. Enter your on-site date and your contract duration in days to get started with this section. There are two ways to adjust your revised completion date. The first is through owner change orders. You may remember that we went over this in the owner billing tutorial. If a time extension is entered in an owner change order, it's summed up here. Any other days that are not accounted for during the owner change order billing process should be manually entered under non-compensable time extensions. Clamshell's margin also can contain summarized data from the purchasing department as margin from current buyout. This is an optional feature you can use if you want to compare your number with a different department, such as estimating or purchasing. Should you choose not to use this feature, you may simply leave it blank. It will not have an effect on your margin report. Now that we've entered our original estimate values, let's proceed to our actual margin projection. Select the progress billing that you want to work on, and navigate to the margin report. You'll notice three columns being captured in the margin report: original values, previous, and current. Because this is the first period, the previous period column simply represents the project data from setup. Let's focus on our current values. The revenue data are automatically flowing values driven by the owner's billing page. Any update you make on your owner's billing page will automatically be incorporated into your margin report. For example, let's click on the current executed change orders modifications number in our margin. Clamshell takes us to our owner billing page and highlights the change order sum that's fed into our margin. Now, let's look at our cost section. Just like the revenue section, most data in the cost section flows automatically from the related pages of Clamshell. For example, the general conditions number is driven from the general conditions page. Some contractors and their change orders are driven by the subcontractors page, and so on and so forth. You can click many numbers in the margin report to jump to where that number comes from. The only number that is not a hyperlink is the buyout value. This number originates from another department, typically purchasing or estimating, depending on your company. Because of that, it has to be manually populated and updated in the margin report page. Because most of the data flows automatically from other pages, the margin report has few data entry requirements. Granted, these data should be subject to review. Costs, such as general conditions and issues, ought to be regularly reviewed and adjusted to make sure these values are accurate. For more information on general conditions, issues, and other cost components, see our other tutorials. Lastly, should you want to add a comment on this period's margin, you may do so in this section. Once done, you may share your margin report by exporting a copy in either Excel or PDF. Your exported document will not only provide the summary page, but will also include pages of detailed data on your margin report components. Thanks for joining me on this tutorial. See our other tutorials for more information about Clamshell, or contact our team for a free trial.